You make 70K a year, maybe 80K, and you still feel broke. Not can't eat broke, just stuck. Like money comes in, disappears, and you're left wondering what happened. And here's the part that stings. You're not reckless. You're not buying yachts. You're just living your life. Normal purchases, normal decisions, and yet somehow the number in your bank account never really grows. Now, most people will tell you it's your lattes, your subscriptions, your takeout orders, but here's what I want to show you today. It's not the $10 that's the problem. It's what your brain is doing with $10 that's slowly, quietly keeping you trapped. And once you see it, you genuinely cannot unsee it. But here's what's strange. The very reason this $10 mistake is so dangerous is because your brain is designed to not notice it. It's literally wired that way. And I'll show you exactly why in a moment. Think about the last time you made a $10 purchase without thinking twice. Maybe it was a food delivery fee, a little add-on at checkout. It's only $10 impulse grab. Now, be honest with yourself. Did you even register that as a decision, or did it just happen? That's not weakness. That's not poor discipline. That's your brain running a pattern it's been reinforcing for years. Neuroscientists call it a habit loop. Your brain calls it efficiency. And your bank account is paying the price. Here's the first thing you need to understand. Your brain is fundamentally lazy. And I mean that in the most scientific way possible. It is always trying to conserve energy. So when you repeat a behavior enough times, $10 here, $10 there, your brain actually stops evaluating it. It gets routed away from your prefrontal cortex, which is your rational, future-thinking brain, and straight into the basal ganglia, the autopilot zone, the place where habits live without needing permission. So by the time you're handing over that $10, your conscious brain isn't even awake for the transaction. That's the trap, not the $10, the autopilot. But here's what really gets me. It gets worse. Here's something most people never consider. The $10 mistake isn't about the money. It's about what the $10 represents to your brain. And this is where loss aversion comes in, one of the most powerful psychological forces in your financial life. Think about it this way. If someone offered you a bet, $10 to win $20, most people hesitate, even though the math clearly favors taking the bet. Why? Because your brain weights losses roughly twice as heavily as gains. Losing $10 feels more painful than winning $10 feels good. You're neurologically wired to be more afraid of losing what you have than excited about gaining more. So what does your brain do with that small $10 purchase? It doesn't flag it as losing money. It frames it as a relief, a tiny escape, a small reward. And your brain releases a small dopamine hit, the same reward chemical tied to every habit it wants you to repeat. And here's the micro reveal that changes everything. That dopamine hit is not about the thing you bought. It's about the relief from the discomfort of not having it. That's a dopamine loop. And every time you spend that $10 to feel better, your brain reinforces spending equals relief. And that wiring gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Think about it. Which one are you? The person who thinks it's only $10, it doesn't matter. Or the person who says, I need this right now, I'll worry about saving later. Because both of those are the same wiring, just dressed differently. Now, here's the part that most people miss entirely, because what I'm about to tell you completely reframes everything. It's not that you're spending $10, it's that you've built an identity around what that $10 means, and your brain will spend a fortune protecting that identity. Let me show you what that looks like in real life. Say you're the kind of person who tells yourself, I work hard, I deserve small comforts. Totally reasonable, right? But over time, that story becomes identity. I'm the type of person who rewards themselves. And now, every $10 purchase isn't a financial decision, it's a self-concept reinforcement. Your brain isn't spending money, it's proving to itself who it is. And here's where identity conflict becomes financially dangerous. Because when you try to save, your brain doesn't experience it as a responsible behavior. It experiences it as a threat to your self-image. I'm not the kind of person who denies myself things. And so you self-sabotage without even realizing it. There's a real scenario here. You tell yourself this week you're going to stop the small spending. And for 3 days, you do great. Day 4, you're stressed. Someone at work annoyed you, you're tired, and suddenly that $10 feels like the only thing that will make you feel normal again. And you spend it. And then you feel guilty. And that guilt makes you feel like a failure. And feeling like a failure makes you want more comfort. And comfort costs $10. That's not a willpower problem. That's a neural loop, and it will keep running until you interrupt it. But here's what the rewired brain does differently, and this is the shift that actually matters. The old brain sees $10 as insignificant. It's not going to move the needle. The sharp, intelligent brain sees $10 as a data point, not about money, about pattern. Every $10 decision is a signal. What triggered it? What were you feeling? What were you avoiding? Because the moment you can see the trigger behind a purchase, you've broken the autopilot. You've brought the transaction back from the basal ganglia into the prefrontal cortex, back into conscious decision-making. This is not about never spending $10 again. It's about waking your brain up before the pattern runs. And here's the practical shift. It's almost embarrassingly simple. Before any purchase under $20, pause for exactly 10 seconds. Not to judge yourself, just to ask, what am I actually trying to solve right now? Is it hunger? Sure. Is it stress? Boredom? A need to feel in control? Because if the answer isn't a real physical need, that pause alone is enough to break the loop. Your brain can't run autopilot when you've inserted conscious attention. Over time, that pause starts to rewire the pattern itself. You're not fighting the habit, you're replacing the trigger-response relationship with something new. That's how the brain actually changes. Now, let's go back to where we started. You at 70K, 80K, wondering why the number never grows. And you've been told it's the big purchases, the subscriptions, the habits you can name and count. But the real trap was never visible on your bank statement. It was in the automatic, unnoticed, identity-reinforcing $10 pattern your brain has been running for years. Not because you're irresponsible, but because your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do, taking the path of least resistance, seeking relief, protecting your story about yourself. The difference between the person who stays stuck at 80K and the one who actually builds wealth, it's not income, it's not even discipline, it's awareness. The ability to see the pattern before it runs, to ask, what is this decision really about before your hand opens? That's the $10 mistake. And now you've seen it, and you actually can't unsee it. And once you start noticing this pattern, something deeper starts to surface. You'll begin to see that this isn't just about small purchases. It connects to an even bigger psychological trap most people fall into without realizing it. The one I break down in this video. Because what you just learned about autopilot spending, it's only one layer of the system running beneath every financial decision you make.